What's up, everybody? Today, we gotta talk about Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Before I get deep into the movie and what happens in it, though, I did want to provide those of you who are on the edge of deciding whether or not you're gonna go see it with a non-spoiler review to hopefully help you out with that decision. So let's get into it. I want to start off by saying that this movie is absolutely not horrible, but it certainly is not great either. It's a decent movie that, in my opinion, got dragged down by the performance of Zachary Levi. It just took me out of scenes on how goofy he got, and I know Shazam is supposed to be a goofball, but he takes it absolutely over the top, and it soured me. With that being said, I would have put Grace Caroline Curry in the center of this movie. She absolutely would have balanced the tone better than Levi did, and she demonstrated that when they were on screen together. Then, to wrap up this non-spoiler section, I want to applaud two things that really stood out to me. First off is David Sandberg. He did a phenomenal job behind the camera on this movie, and it truly was a visually pleasing experience. Also, he did one of my favorite things in comic book movies in showing super speed without using slow motion. I was so happy to see that he veered away from that because I'm so incredibly sick of it. Then, I want to take a second to appreciate the standout performances of some of the cast. A couple names that really stood out to me were Grace Caroline Curry, as I mentioned before, Rachel Zegler, both Adam Brody and Jack Dylan Grazer, and then Faith Herman. They really brought it for this movie, and I hope this spouts a ton of work for them in their careers because they do really deserve it. So now, I'm going to be moving into the spoiler section of this review. If you haven't seen the movie yet and want to go in fresh, thank you for sticking around through the first section of this video, and if you enjoyed it, go ahead and leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so that you can make your way back after you've seen the movie, and have a great day. Alright, so now it's time to get into the meat of the movie, to get into all the spoilers, both the good and the bad, and that's how we're going to break this up. We're going to start with the good and then finish it off with the bad, so let's get into it. We start off in a museum where daughters Hespera and Calypso have come to take the magic staff of the wizard from the first movie that we do find out was a barrier between our realm and theirs. But that's not the good part in this scene. We actually get to see Jamil from Peacemaker, who's apparently working multiple jobs or got fired from being the janitor at the hospital in that show because he's now working for the museum. It was a really nice surprise getting to see him back for this movie, but he was unfortunately ripped away from us after being turned to stone and then shattered. Rest in peace, Jamil. From there, we meet Rachel Zegler's Anne, or Anthea, as we come to find out. But I really like the chemistry between Rachel and Jack Dylan Grazer. The scenes between Anthea and Freddie were definitely some of my favorites, and Jack actually brought a really compelling performance to some scenes that really needed it. And then, wrapping up the Daughters of Atlas section, I thought the concept of their powers was pretty cool, however it was hit or miss on the execution. Having them control the elements, chaos, and axes of the world was definitely an interesting starting point, but it did kind of come off like a copy and paste from things like Doctor Strange and Wanda. Circling back to Freddy though, so we can stay positive in this section, I really enjoyed the scenes between him and Shimon Hanzu's wizard. Those scenes had some of the absolute best comedy for me in the entire movie. And to end this section of the video, I want to give the highest of praise to Asher Angel for his performance in this movie. I absolutely loved every scene with Billy Batson in it, and I wouldn't mind if he were an actor that James Gunn looked at and said, you know, we're unfortunately not going to be moving forward with you as Billy, but what do you think about taking on this role? And do go ahead and make your fan cast down in the comments below, but I will die on the hill that Asher should 100% be recast and carried to the DCU. Now, it's time for what I didn't like. I'm going to try my best to not go super hard, but there was some stuff that I really didn't like with this movie. With that, let's get started. Right off the bat, Zachary Levi. I knew the second I saw the scene with the pediatrician that it was going to be a rough ride when he's on the screen, which is a lot. I started to think that maybe the reason I enjoyed the first one more is because Asher's on screen more as Billy in that one. I mean, I know I said I'm going to try and not go too hard on it, but goddamn, Levi absolutely overplayed the childish nature of Shazam in this one, because there's no situation where A, Billy Batson should be more mature than Shazam, they should be on equal levels in my opinion, and B, where Megan Good portrays an older Darla that's years younger than Billy and still playing with Skittles but is somehow more mature than him. There's a quote from Hespera in this movie, and it quite literally encapsulates the way I felt when Levi was on screen, and it says, "You play the part of a man, but you don't play it well." I would have been happier if they CGI'd the hell out of Asher for this and made him Shazam. There's absolutely no issue with Grace playing both versions of Mary. Shifting to the beginning of the movie, I don't know if this is a me issue, but was it really necessary for that lady to stay in her car as the bridge collapsed just so Shazam could save her while she was listening to the hero song? Maybe I'm just a grump, but my eyes almost rolled out of my head when that happened. From there, I want to pivot to the usage of a certain character, and that would be Mary. I mentioned right off the bat that I would have put Grace Caroline Curry at the lead of this movie, and that really plays into this complaint because she was barely on screen in this. I don't know what was going on with that, if they were afraid people were going to be upset that Grace was taking on both roles and that Michelle Borth wasn't returning, because I couldn't have cared less. Grace was phenomenal when she was on screen, but that was just unfortunately not enough. Then I'm gonna throw in a really small complaint, and I hope you understand this didn't make or break the movie for me. It didn't even really bother me that much, but I can't help myself. What was up with the Scooby-Doo-like scene where Hespera walks through the door into the labyrinth and just doesn't see or hear Freddy and the wizard scrambling away right in front of the door? Am I supposed to believe that she was so caught up in the golden apple that she didn't notice them? I suppose apples are just that cool. And then just one more complaint. I need to know who decided to put Wonder Woman in this movie. It would have been better off if they kept it to the headless shot in Jamon's face on her body during Billy's dream, but this scene where she revives Shazam is one of the dumbest things I've seen in a while. They play her theme for absolutely no reason when she struts into the scene just to jab the wizard's staff into the ground and then shoot down Billy. So, if that trailer with her last week made you want to go see this movie, maybe don't, because I think you'll be pretty disappointed. Alright, so with the good and the bad out of the way, let's go over the mid and post-credit scenes real quick before we wrap it up here. So the mid-credit scene features the return of Jennifer Holland's Amelia Harcourt and Stephen Aggie's Economos. They walk through the forest with some friendly banter between the two that we became familiar with in the Peacemaker show as they head to recruit Shazam to the team. The team he believes to be the Justice League, but turns out to be the Justice Society of America that was featured in Black Adam last year. Now you really see how this plan kind of fell apart when Dwayne Johnson decided his ego was too big to appear in a Shazam movie. But anyway, they ask him to join the JSA, and then he obsesses over Wonder Woman a little more. I would have just put the JSA offer and then back to the credits, but I didn't make the movie, so we got what we got. Then with the post-credit scene, we get another scene with Mr. Mind, and guess what? Nothing again. Mark Strong has facial hair this time though, so I guess there's that, but it will ultimately lead to nothing because there won't be a third movie after what I predict to be a shameful box office performance for this one. And just like with the Shazam franchise, that'll do it for this review. I hope you enjoyed the video and that I didn't go too hard on the parts that I didn't like in the movie. If you did enjoy the review, go ahead and leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on any future reviews, theories, or news in the nerdy world. And while you're at it, go ahead and let me know your thoughts on Shazam, Fury of the Gods down in the comments below, and have a great day.